And now Kutztown University Athletics and KUR present to you this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. This weekly radio program brings to you an in-depth look at the week in sports around campus, including game highlights, player and coach interviews, and an analysis of recent sporting events. Live on campus, let's send it to our host, Adam Dobrowolski.
And good afternoon, everyone. Adam Dobrowolski here on the Golden Bear Beat as the season churns on for many fall athletics. Some come to a hiatus last week, this upcoming week, and then the season comes to a potential close the following week. Hopefully not. We'll kind of get you all caught up to date with that. But two new sports about to get underway this weekend. So we have two previews coming up. I guess you can technically consider them winter previews, but, at least for one of the sports, 7-month season, that's a long way, and really it's still fall. So we're not going to call it winter previews. We're not going to call it fall previews. It's just swimming preview and bowling preview. Those are our two sports that will be getting underway this Saturday. So we'll have that coming up. We'll preview the PSAC championships for women's golf, see where the Golden Bears fit in, and also, of course, as we take a look around the KU athletic scene for the teams in action, some big games in volleyball, field hockey, and women's soccer that have already happened and are going to happen with some ranked teams involved as well. And really with probably about 2 or 3 weeks left in those seasons before postseason play for the conference, there's a lot of the picture that's going to be figured out. But here we have the middle of the season for KU football and the Golden Bears getting win number 1 for head coach Drew Fulmer. Let's look at what happened in that game as the Golden Bears hosting the Cheney Wolves at University Field. Both teams 0-5 start. Kutztown, though, against a much tougher competition when you look at Slippery Rock, who defeated IUP on Saturday. They're getting votes in the top 25 polls. Losses to ranked teams like Bloomsburg, who's all the way up to 6th, and Westchester, who's also in the top 15. So here's a chance for the Golden Bears to get a victory at home, and they would start off on just the right foot. Exactly what you want to see from the Golden Bears trying to get the victory. First drive of the game, Kutztown has the ball. On a 3rd and 6, Alec Warner finds Brett Fox 9 yards and a first down. Later on, a 3rd and 10, Warner finds Curtis Wortham with the pass. Ball goes down to the Cheney 20. Adding a personal foul, it's down to the Cheney 10. On the ensuing series, 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line. Warner again with the key completion on 3rd down.
A tight formation, 2 receivers each way. Werner looking left, flush to his right. Now trying to find somebody to throw to, wide open in the end zone, Cody Reed for the touchdown.
Good job by Warner being patient, giving Kutztown the touchdown. Extra point from Andrew Deutsch, good, 7-0. Just 4 minutes and a few seconds into the game. Cheney gets the ball, and on the very first offensive play from scrimmage, a great job by the Golden Bears. You have that Cheney offense that can use the run option. Well, Kutztown holds its lanes. Pitch goes to Nahum Purdy, and Rob Siclari does a great job ripping the ball out, not only holding his lane, making a tackle, but ripping the ball out, forcing the fumble. Ball is recovered by Siclari at the Cheney 20-yard line. And on the ensuing play, Kutztown makes it a 2-possession lead.
Daniel Boone grad Darrell Scott in the backfield for the first time on first down. From the 20, 7-0 Bears. Darrell Scott on the option read. It's actually Werner to the 10, to the 5. Alec Werner, touchdown.
So sometimes you just have to do the keeper. Warner, one with his arm, one with his feet. Extra point good. 14-0. Kutztown leads just 5 minutes and 21 seconds into this game. A little bit of back and forth here to end the first quarter in terms of possessions. Kutztown got as deep as a Cheney 11-yard line, but a 28-yard field goal from Andrew Deutsch was wide right. So the score 14-0 through one quarter. Early in the second quarter, though, Kutztown already driving. Curtis Wortham, 20-yard rush to the Cheney 32-yard line after a personal foul by Cheney. The ball down to the Wolves' 14-yard line, and Warner again getting the job done, this time to a freshman receiver in Kellen Williams.
From the 14, they throw the fade to the right corner. Touchdown, Golden Bears, Kellen Williams. Pulled it in. Great adjustment by Kellen Williams.
Williams had a great day, 11 receptions, team high for the afternoon. Extra point here made it 21-0. But KU quickly scoring once again. That first burst of scoring, 2 touchdowns in 14 seconds. Well, how about here? 2 touchdowns in 56 seconds. The signs pointing up here for the Golden Bears. They recover an onside kick. 3 plays into the next drive on a 3rd and 2. Darrell Scott with the big run.
Darrell Scott checks in on 3rd down and 2 at the 44. He'll keep it himself. Up the middle, look out. 40, 35, 30. Darrell Scott's gone. 44-yard touchdown run for Darrell Scott. It's 27-0.
Deutsch would hit the extra point, so it's 28-0. Early in the second quarter now, Kutztown had a chance to add a 3rd touchdown in about a 2-minute span as they had an interception that looked like it was going to be returned for a touchdown. Unfortunately, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty during the return. And Kutztown, it stays a 28-0 game until Cheney got on the board late in the first half. 28-6 the score going into the second half. Now, Kutztown early in the third quarter trying to put this game away, or at least a little bit more of a comfortable lead. Their first offensive possession, they get the ball after forcing a fumble that was recovered by Zach Greenwald, and Kutztown rushing the ball down to the 3-yard line. 1st and goal. Alec Werner again, this time finding Alex Satie.
Red Fox in motion, play action. Werner rolling to his right, touchdown. Alex Satie, the tight end, all alone on the right side.
So the Golden Bears get another touchdown, go up 35-6. The Wolves, though, would fight back here. They were able to slow up Kutztown a few times. Next offensive possession for the Golden Bears. Werner threw his lone interception of the game. The Wolves with positioning at the KU 39-yard line. A little bit of a help from a KU personal foul. They drive down to 1 yard. Marcus Jones touchdown made it 35-13. In the fourth quarter, Cheney, well, they get it to a 2-possession game as they were able to get a decent drive as they got the ball at the KU 45-yard line. A personal foul by the Golden Bears did help to get it down inside to the red zone. And then a 7-yard touchdown run by Marcus Jones.
1st and goal for the Wolves at the Kutztown 7 with 7:39 left. KU up 35-13. And Watkins goes in motion. Jones up the middle, walks into the end zone.
So it's now a 35-19 game. Cheney goes for 2 here, and this is the proper play because if you miss it, you still have a 2-score game. And obviously, if you make it, well, then it's a 2-touchdown game, 35-21. KU does a good job. They hold the rush, push back the Wolves. And then on the next Wolves drive, Kutztown forcing a 4th and 11. Adler Tony finding Khalif Dandy, but he's 2 yards short. It's only a 9-yard game. Kutztown gets the ball with 3:11 left to go, and Curtis Wortham finishes the job off. A 13-yard run on a 3rd and 9, a 21-yard run on a 3rd and 10. And giving head coach Drew Fulmer his first victory of the season. Golden Bears defeat the Wolves 35-19 as 2 of your key players of the game, Curtis Wortham with 20 carries, 154 yards. By and far the Golden Bears' best rushing performance to date, 225 yards on 44 total carries. And that, of course, includes the sacking numbers that counts towards the rush in collegiate football. 5.1 yards per carry for the Golden Bears, and they held Cheney to just 37 net yards on the ground on 33 attempts. Also of note, as mentioned, Kellen Williams leading the way for the Golden Bears with his 11 receptions. It went for 119 yards and a touchdown. And the Golden Bears here victorious defensively. A strong game as well, especially in the first half. Another multiple sack game for Zach Greenwald. He had 8 tackles total, 3 of them for a loss. Sam Dixon-Dugan, another strong game as a linebacker. 8 tackles, 1.5 tackles for a loss, including a sack. We bring on now head coach Drew Fulmer. First things, coach, congratulations on your first victory.
Thank you very much.
And obviously for the Golden Bears, a strong start to this game. Able to get those 2 quick touchdowns basically in the first 6 minutes of the game. And we talked about that last week. And really, I thought the team did a great job. Composed, focused drive. on the first drive, make it a 7-0 game. But that particularly what stood out to me, that first defensive play, they held their lanes, created the fumble. Next play, get a touchdown. It had to be huge to get that early 14-0 lead.
No question. I thought we talked to our guys all the time about trying to come out and start fast, and I think we did that on both sides of the football. We got the ball first and took it down the field. We were able to convert some third downs and a fourth down and punch it in the end zone, and then we kick off, and defense on the very first play from scrimmage, they force a fumble, and we're able to score on our next play from scrimmage. So it was a big momentum booster for us, and I think a confidence booster going through the rest of that game.
Getting that second scoring spurt was big as well. The touchdown, then the onside kick. Quickly after that, Darrell Scott with the big run. It seemed like the offense was able to really work in that run game very well in this game. And what do you think from this game that you saw from the film can carry over to the future opponents, especially this upcoming Saturday against Shippensburg?
Well, I think it shows that our kids have developed, especially up front, over the first couple of weeks of the season, and I think they've got some confidence now knowing that they can get the job done, and we hope and think that that'll carry over moving forward to the rest of the season.
Now, the other big thing that kind of stood out for me here for the team getting this early lead was the ability just to take care of the ball and then force mistakes from Cheney, especially in terms of creating the fumbles, because this is a Cheney team that runs more often than it does passing-wise. And although it wasn't a big enough lead to necessarily make Cheney go completely out of their comfort zone, when they're still trying to run the ball and make a comeback, you're able to create turnovers and help build that lead. So really, what do you have to say just for the way the team was able to attack and win that turnover battle?
Well, I think they did a great job. It's something that you strive to do every week, is win the turnover battle, which we did. The defense did a great job again of forcing some turnovers, and we did a much better job on offense of protecting the football. We had the one turnover, which was costly, but we were able to minimize the damage.
Now, I do have to ask this, with this being the first one of the season, is there any relief that might be noticed within the players that they got the win under the belt and they don't really have to worry about necessarily getting that first victory? Do you kind of notice maybe a little bit of pressure relief from the team's shoulders?
Well, I'm sure there is. I don't see it as much in terms of the pressure. I think they just have a little bit more excitement in their step as they move along. But it's good to get the first one past you, because that's always the most difficult, is to win the first game of the year. And then once you get going from there, you realize that you gain some of that confidence. You realize that you can play, compete, and finish the job. Well,
coming up this Saturday, a game at Shippensburg, a team last year that won the PSAC East Division, and just a fantastic job by their quarterback in Zach Zulli, who became the 2012 Harlan Hill Trophy winner. They did lose their first two games of the season against Shepherd and against a team Kutztown lost to in Slippery Rock. So two good opponents that Shippensburg lost to, but they've bounced back now, 4-2 overall, 3-0 in the PSAC East. Kutztown 1-5 overall, 1-2 in the PSAC East. The biggest thing about going on the road to Shippensburg, what's going to be the key there to make sure that you kind of keep away from their crowd? Because Shippensburg, they're on an 11-game home winning streak. All 11 games, they've scored at least 36 points. So this seems like one of those games where you're going to have to do what was done last week, and that's get that early touchdown and maybe even get an early turnover to try and build a multiple score lead.
Absolutely. That's always the key, to be able to jump on them early and then create some momentum, because it is a tough place to play. They have a great game day atmosphere, and they're very confident at home. So it's something that we're going to have to go in and handle and adapt to and adjust early in the football game, because I'm sure the crowd will be a factor. If we can get some things going, we hope that we can take them out of the game.
Now, Zulli had over 50 touchdown passes last year. This year, he's got under 2,000 yards at this point right now, but close to 300 passing yards per game. He's averaging 3 touchdowns per game, 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and then his top receiver, and Trevor Harmon, has 10 touchdown receptions, 54 total for 751 yards. Not as strong, though, as last year. Is there anything you notice that might be different within the offense, or is this just a case of maybe a few experienced players left and they're not going as fast of a pace?
Well, I think they've lost a couple of guys, not a lot, but a couple of guys on offense, and there's a new coordinator. But the one thing I think that you can look at through the season is they're getting into a groove now, which obviously we need to try to find a way to get them out of that groove very quickly. But they're a great football team. They're well coached. They're going to come out, I'm sure, ready to go. We just got to be able to counter their attack and try to slow some things down early on in that game so that they don't get some momentum going on their own.
What are some of the things they might try and do to the run game to keep the balance in their offense, and how might you be able to counter that?
Well, we expect them to do what they've been doing. They'll run some power run game, and they'll run some quarterback-oriented run, and they're going to take their shots, obviously throwing the football. Our first objective on the defense side of the ball is always to try to stop the run and try to force the offense to become one-dimensional, and then from there you can start getting after the quarterback and try to put pressure on them.
Now, they're obviously going to try and do the same thing with a freshman quarterback under center. They're going to try and rush the decision-making of Alec Warner. What are some of the things you might be able to counteract with either the offensive line or with the run game to try and keep a balance for the offense that might make things a bit easier for Warner operating under center?
Well, I think you hit it right there. We've got to be balanced. If we can run the football to try not to make ourselves one-dimensional, that's going to help out the pass game, and it's going to help out the pass protection, because when the defense, in particular the defensive line, knows where the quarterback is going to be and knows what you're doing, it makes their job a lot easier because they're playing one facet of the game. So I think we've got to be able to run the football, and we've got to be able to protect the quarterback so that we're not in third and long all day long. We've got to mix in some quick throws, but we've also got to try to loosen them up and get some throws down the field.
We've talked about almost every game the importance of the turnover battle. One final question, Coach. There was a little bit of some setbacks in games like Bloomsburg and Slippery Rock and Westchester in terms of turnovers, but it seemed like the team took a positive step forward against Cheney to better protect the ball. Do you feel that's going to carry over to this upcoming game against Shippensburg?
Well, we hope it does. I mean, that's what you strive for every week, is to not turn it over on offense and then create turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. So it's always a key for us, or protecting the football and getting it away from the opposition. So that's going to be a big factor, I think, in Saturday's game.
Well, this should be an interesting one. Again, that game information, Kutztown at Shippensburg. Kickoff at 1 p.m. We'll have it streamed live here on KUR. Thank you once again, Head Coach Drew Fulmer, for coming on, and congrats again on the first victory.
Thank you.
We'll see if KU can get the second victory of the season this Saturday. But when we step off to break here, we look at some brand new seasons coming up, as we have KU Swimming and KU Bowling beginning their seasons this Saturday. We'll have those season previews when we return on the Golden Bear Beat. And welcome back here on the Golden Bear Beat. Again, thank you to Head Coach Drew Fulmer of KU football team for coming on. As we continue our show here, we take a look at 2 seasons coming up for the Golden Bears athletics program. Bowling and swimming beginning their seasons this upcoming Saturday, as we first look at the KU Fall Baker Invite that is this Saturday at Burks Lanes in Reading, PA. There will be a lot of teams that the Golden Bears will face and get to see. Pitt Bradford, Delaware State, Coppin State, Salem International, Penn State, Altoona, Norfolk State, and Cheney are some of the key teams to take a look at. But it's also some teams you'll see within the Northeast Conference, which KU Bowling is part of. Teams like Adelphi, St. Francis of both PA and New York, and LIU Brooklyn are also in that meet. So it'll be an important way to start off the season after last year's team went 79-43 and made it into the quarterfinals of the United States Bowling Congress Championships, National Championships. So the Golden Bears looking to build upon that season. KU Swimming, meanwhile, they'll begin this season at 2 p.m. on Saturday as they travel to play Mansfield. Let's take a look at those 2 teams. We'll start things off with KU Bowling, and as mentioned last year, the team had a great season, nearly 80 wins, making it to the final 8 of one of the 2 major tournaments in collegiate bowling. You have the USBC and you have the NCAA. The Golden Bears got the invite to the USBC National Championships, defeated, I believe, the defending champions from last year in the first round of those championships, made it all the way to the quarterfinals. So the Golden Bears have some high hopes for this year. They've had a strong program that they're continuing to build. And under KU bowling head coach Joe Ambrose, really a fantastic job that this program's doing. It's a long season, though. This is a season that you will see go all the way from October to April. October 19th, and the season could end April 19th. So that just shows you how long things go, and it could be quite a fun season for these Golden Bears. So let's look at what you can learn about this KU bowling team. We'll start things off overall just looking at just the program growth. Talked earlier today to head coach Joe Ambrose and two of the team leaders, two of the team seniors, two of the three seniors, in fact. Talked to Brooke Bauer and Deanna Dorado. But first, talking to Coach Ambrose, I asked him about the team's program growth over the years.
I think we've made great strides, especially when I think back where we were in 2007-8 when I started. Now our goals are much different. Back then we were just trying to win matches. Now we're actually thinking about how we can get to NCAAs and to USBC championships to actually win the thing. And we have the players here to do it. And I know we're willing to work hard enough to do that. So I'm really excited about this season.
Well, one of the keys for the Golden Bears to have that success is the team's experience. A lot of seniors and juniors, players who have been through the program. You have sophomores as well who have seen the program as freshmen last year. Coach talked about that team experience and how it can help out the program as a whole to continue the momentum from last year.
I think we can draw on the experience that we did last April and just kind of carry that over right now. We really haven't been practicing that long this year, maybe a week, 10 days, and we start right out with competition this Saturday. And I really think that's going to help us, the fact that we have so many seniors and juniors on this team. When you're bowling on your own, the only one that benefits or doesn't benefit from how you do is you. When you're doing it at a team level, at this level, NCAA or USBC, whatever it is, what you do affects everybody else and your school. And it's a different kind of pressure, which is probably the thing that we really try to work on the most when we practice, besides making spares, but trying to learn how to deal with pressure. But it's hard to recreate that in practice, coming down to the 9th and 10th frame in a close match, when you need to rely on your mechanics and all the things that you work on to be able to do that when it really counts. And that's where I think our experience is really, really going to help us this year.
Golden Bears are led by three seniors. Brooke Bauer led the team last year with over 200 pins per game. You also have fellow seniors in Deanna Dorado, who was third on the team last year in terms of the pins per game average, as well as another key player in Rebecca Velasquez. So you have those three players, and Coach talked about how the seniors will help out the team.
To see how they've all developed as players to this point is pretty amazing, and I can't wait to get them on the lanes this year as seniors, knowing that this is their last time. I think there's probably going to be like a different focus, a different mindset, knowing that we don't have tomorrow. Like, this is it, and every weekend has to be like that. Like, you have to just go at it. And plus, our supporting cast is really, really solid. And it's not like one person has to do it. We have a bunch of people that are capable of stepping in.
And some of those supporting players, when you look at a junior class, someone like Christine Gordon, who was second on the team last year in the pins per game average, players like Lauren Stam, who her sister, Kayla, one of the top bowlers in KU history, a volunteer assistant coach helping out along the way, but her younger sister Lauren, a sophomore, and the team stepped in very well as a freshman, and a deep team, a lot of players that you can mention, and Coach will talk about that supporting cast shortly, but want to hear from some of those seniors. First things first, with Brooke Bauer, 204, near average or so in terms of pins per game. I asked her what she thought her strong suits are and how that can help out her teammates.
I definitely think my strongest suit would be my ability to make spares. I mean, I do miss a few here or there, but for the most part, I'm consistent with them. And I don't really let everything get to me. Like, I'm a really relaxed person, so I think that also helps, just being able to have an open mind about everything and the changes I would have to make. I have that ability to do.
Now, that calm mentality is so key in bowling. You don't want that frustration to affect your mechanics. Bauer talked about how some of the ways she can help out her team just by keeping the calm and cool attitude and get it to her teammates.
Normally I try and joke with them, have a little bit of fun, because that always helps everybody's bowling state. We normally do a lot better when we're having fun. So that's going to be the main thing that I'll try and do.
As for Deanna Dorado, she also will be providing a lot of senior leadership. She talked about that leadership.
Well, I think just by our attitudes and the way that we carry ourselves as seniors says a lot to the freshmen. I mean, we don't take practices lightly. We don't take workouts lightly. I mean, we try to stay focused and make sure that the new incoming people understand that. And I think eventually they're going to see that they need to step it up. It's not high school. It's not a joke, and we need to take it very seriously.
Well, Bauer, Dorado, and Velasquez all have taken it upon themselves to lead by example. And they're hoping to continue to do that with, again, a team that is quite deep. And although, as you'll hear from Coach Ambrose, he can't mention in a single show everyone on the roster because we might be here all day, he did talk about the keys of the supporting cast.
I can't mention every single person on the roster, but the ones, Christine Gordon is a junior who's going to contribute to us a ton. She's steady, doesn't miss too much of anything, and she's one of our starters. Lauren Stam is a sophomore this year. I expect her to have a great year this year as well. Kayla Maslakevich, Ricky Cullen. I mean, there's a long list of players that are going to help us. You can't do this with just 5 people over a 7-month season. It's just impossible.
So for the Golden Bears, the depth is a key, but obviously there's still room for improvement, and part of it's not just going to come from how Coach Ambrose runs practices and make sure that the team's techniques are there. It's going to have to come within the players. And I asked Brooke Bauer really how the team can work together to help out and critique each other constructively to make sure that there's continual improvement among the team members.
Well, we do have the ability to go up to people and say that. Normally they don't get offended or anything, which is good. But it definitely helps that not only them get better, but it helps us as a team to bond.
Now, obviously, what also helps the team to bond is the team rituals. And I asked Deanna Dorado, what are some of the things maybe the team does, whether it's a night before a game or right as the match is about to begin, to help get that team unity?
We always try to have like an ice cream night. We didn't do that too much last year. I'm lactose intolerant, so I guess that's not great. But that kind of thing, just bonding and relaxing, game night, stuff like that. But once we get on the lanes, we always have our initial cheer, and that kind of is a mental click. All right, we're starting now. Time to go.
And it will be time to go beginning this Saturday, as mentioned in the KU Fall Baker invite. Obviously, the team's going to be close to home, but they have a lot of trips coming up, and they'll see some key tournaments and some key opponents within the Northeast Conference. Coach Ambrose talked about that.
We only have 7 teams in it this year, but all 7 teams are capable of beating each other at any given point. And 3 of us have nationals experience. And it's every conference meet is going to be brutal. 5 of us are going to be competing this weekend at the KU Fall Baker invite. So on Sunday, we're going to play all of them in the same day, which is going to be really difficult. The Fairleigh Dickinson tournament's going to be really strong because there's going to be some teams from the Central that we don't see very often that are going to be important matches for us. And also the UMES event in November is going to be a strong one as well.
And Coach Ambrose also kind of went into a little bit more detail. We're not going to play all that there for you of what he was saying, but went into a little bit more detail saying how he decided to structure it the first 5 weekends, all consecutive weekends to begin the season. This will be a way to help to exploit the strengths of the Golden Bears with such a veteran team this week in Reading, next week at the Hampton Roads Invite in Norfolk. Then for Fairleigh Dickinson, that's in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. To Reading, back as KU hosts the first NEC conference meet, and then finally, as Coach mentioned, the UMES Hall Classic in mid-November. That's out in Millsboro, Delaware. But there's some other fun trips coming up. One to Connecticut. You have later on one to Altoona, one to Dover, Delaware, later on to Long Island. And then obviously as things might get later on into the year, perhaps to the NCAAs. If they get there, that could be in Cleveland, Ohio. The USBCs last year were in Nebraska, not a determined site yet for this year. But that gives a chance for the team to get a lot of team bonding, a lot of fun things to happen on the road trips. And Dorado went into a little bit more detail about the fun of going on road trips.
It's always amazing to go and travel, across the Eastern Coast and to meet different people, different teams, different areas. My favorite part of a tournament is the downtime that you get in between. I mean, the bowling itself is always fun, but being in the hotel and being able to, hang out with different people, that's always fun. That's where we bond as a team, and I think that always helps us be better on the lanes.
And that obviously will be key for the Golden Bears, given their expectations. To close things up, I asked Coach, what are the overall team goals for this season, and what will be the overarching key for the year? First, the team goals.
Our goals, in my opinion, are extremely high. Trying to win a national championship is a really, really high goal, and only one team gets to do that. But this is something that you only get, I tell the players this all the time, it's something you only get to do for 4 years in your life. So why not try to do the best thing you possibly can? So we're going to start at one piece at a time this weekend. Each match is individual and each shot is individual. And we're just going to take the journey and hope that we end up where we want to be at the end of the season.
And finally, for the overarching key?
Consistency and staying focused and staying in the moment and one shot at a time. We really have to do that. If we do that, we'll be very, very successful.
Again, the season begins this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Berks Lanes in Reading, PA, as the Golden Bears will be participating in the KU Fall Baker Invite. It should be in action throughout all the afternoon for both Saturday and Sunday. So head over to the lanes and support the Golden Bears. Meanwhile, for KU Swimming, well, their season begins at Mansfield, but they themselves have some expectations here and a long season they will be getting underway, and we will luckily get to see the Golden Bears in some home meets. But talking to KU head coach Tim Flannery earlier this week, wanted to get some of the things that he expects for the team and help to break down these Golden Bears. I first asked him about the senior class. You have 3 seniors for this Golden Bears team: Natalie Carr, Liz Metz, and Emily Scordato. They all participate in different events. Natalie Carr in the breaststroke event. You have freestyle primarily for Metz, and Scordato in the backstroke. But Coach had a lot of high things to say about Liz Metz, and really talked about for her long-distance performance, as she also does the long-distance styles for the freestyle. Talked about all the hard work she's putting in and how that can help out the team.
Well, I think Liz is probably the leader of that bunch. She's probably the hardest worker because she's a distance swimmer. She's in the pool constantly, but her biggest thing is that she's been doing this now for 3 years in distance swimming, and that's definitely the hardest to train for.
Now, the Golden Bears last year lost due to graduation 2 key seniors, Jess Mape and Lauren Galetto. Galetto set the school record for the 200-yard butterfly last year, but she, with her hard work, kind of starting to carry it over to a swimmer like Metz.
The biggest thing with Lauren is that she improved every single year she was here. And the same thing with Liz is that, she has basically improved her times every single year. She's moved up our top times list every single year. So she more mirrors Lauren than anything. And, I think Liz has got an excellent opportunity this year to try to get inside the top 8 at PSACs.
Another key swimmer for the Golden Bears will be junior Jessica Blyler. She participates in multiple events, but she's taking her game to the next level from sophomore to junior, and Coach Flannery talked about that improvement for Blyler.
One of the things that I believe she's doing much better this year, she's training with the distance swimmers. And I think that's definitely going to help her 200 fly. It's probably going to help her, 200 and 500 freestyle as well. But I'm looking forward just to see, especially this Saturday, all this distance training. I'm curious to see, how she's going to react to it this Saturday. But I think that's going to be a big help to her, especially toward the end of the season.
Blyler leads a strong junior class. You have 7 junior swimmers. Rachel Burke joins her, Caitlin Davies, Melanie Felkner, Ellen Gronewald, Kelly Sheetsley, and Zoe Cianis. Coach talked about the strength of that junior class.
From watching them as freshmen till now, just seeing how hard they're working, because the one thing is that they've got this desire. They want to get better, and every single year they've gotten better. Kelly got on the top 10 all-time list for the 1,000 last year. I know she's motivated to get on there for the 4IM this year. Caitlin got on there for the 50 and the 100 free. She had lifetime best times. Now she wants to get even higher up the ladder. And also she would like to try to get into the top times for the 200 freestyle as well. So, that's good. Now the next step for them, next progression, is to try to get inside the top 16 at PSACs.
Be interesting to see what the Golden Bears can do with those 3 seniors and those 7 juniors. This is an experienced team. So one of the things I want to find out from Coach Flannery is what he thinks the team can do to carry that experience over to improvement. And he explained that.
It's definitely going to help. I think in the swim meets, I think we're a lot stronger than what we were last year. I think we'll be better depth-wise. Trying to get out of the 12th position, the PSAC, it's going to be, I think we've got the potential to do it, but I'll tell you what, I can't make a really informed judgment at this point in time. Once we get past F&M, I'll have a better idea, and once I see some of the other teams swimming and what they're doing. But, the motivation is there. They've been doing well. I'm expecting everybody to improve over what they did last year. But I'm encouraged so far with the practices and how they've been doing. So I think we've got a great potential to improve.
You also have sophomore Samantha Scialpi, but freshmen as well. Good freshman class coming in. A total of 5 freshmen, and Vicky Caesar, Allison Kraus, Caitlin Falguera, Samantha Harlacker, and Amy Watkins. And I asked Coach his thoughts so far on some of the freshmen who might be standing out.
Caitlin Falguera in the backstroke, she's been doing well. She's kind of trying to overcome an injury in her shoulder as well, but she's been swimming a whole lot of backstroke as of late. And, I think she's going to have a good season. Vicky Caesar, Sam Harlacher, and Amy Watkins, they're still pretty new to the sport. So I'm not really expecting a whole lot from them. I'm expecting to improve from where they were last year. But this is going to be a learning experience for them, what it's like to swim in college. And, so we basically keep building them up, getting them stronger.
And we'll see for them how it goes through the season. Early on, though, it's going to be a test to kind of see where these Golden Bears swimmers stand as they begin their season against Mansfield. That's just going to be the beginning of warming things up for the early meets. They go the following week up to Dallas, Pennsylvania, try meet with Misericordia, a Division III program, but they were second in the MAC in their conference last year. East Stroudsburg will also be there. And then KU will be at Keystone Pool for the first time this season, November 9th. Going up against LIU Post, a top 10 program in Division II, have a few national champions. And Coach said that these are the type of teams that the Golden Bears need to face to swim against to see where they stand. November 15th, November 16th will be the Golden Bear Invite, again at Keystone Pool. And then finally, to close out the 2013 portion of the season, the 3-day Franklin and Marshall Invite. The season will continue, obviously, back from winter break from January into February before the PSAC Championships, which will take place February 20th to 23rd in York, PA. But I asked Coach just his thoughts on the early portions of the schedule and what are some of the workable things for the Golden Bears.
These 3 meets coming up, it's going to be a good indicator to see where our training is, what improvements we need to make, because everything for this first half is pointing at Franklin and Marshall. That's where we want to peak, because that's going to give us the best chance to qualify as many people as possible for the PSAC championships.
Again, the season begins Saturday, 2 p.m. at Mansfield, and we'll see what the Golden Bears can do with their first meet of the season. We're going to step off to break here on the Golden Bear Beat, but when we come back, we're going to preview the PSAC championships in golf, update you on field hockey, soccer, and volleyball as things are really gearing up high there, and we'll talk about the close of the fall portion of the season for men's and women's tennis. Stay tuned on the Golden Bear Beat on KUR. Welcome back to the Golden Bear Beat. Your host, Adam Dobrovolsky, here as we take a look at a rapid fire of what's going around in Kutztown Athletics to close out the show here over the next 10 minutes or so. We'll start things off with KU women's soccer as the Golden Bears, boy, they were high rolling. 6-game winning streak heading into this week and only allowed 1 goal in the process, improving from a 1-3 start to 7-3. They faced Mansfield this past Saturday. In the 31st minute, off a corner kick from Ruby Mink, Katie Miller knocks it in for her 2nd goal of the season. The freshman defender really stepping up as of late, getting the ball off of corners. KU outshot Mansfield 17-2 in the first half, where it was 1-0. No scores in the second half. KU outshot Mansfield 23-5 overall in the 1-0 victory. So KU extends its winning streak to 7 games, and in the process of those 7 games, they outscored their opponents 16-1. That meant the Golden Bears would carry in a strong winning streak with a chance to perhaps tie a school record for a winning streak yesterday against 21st ranked Slippery Rock. And this one could be a key to see who may get the number 2 seed and be in the running for the number 1 seed in the PSAC championship tournament. And if one of these teams loses, gets 0 points out of this outcome, may be fighting for a playoff spot altogether in a very deep PSAC. The game began just in the 6th minute with Slippery Rock grabbing a 1-0 lead. KU, though, would fight back. They would have a chance to tie the game up within the first 20 minutes. Hannah Fenstermacher, a shot on goal, but a team save by the Slippery Rock defense. And really, they had a quite handful of those, and we'll talk about that moving forward. But in the 11th minute, a team save kept it a 1-0 game. Kutztown would eventually get it in. Megan Frailer in the 29th minute deflected the ball to get into the net, tied at 1. That's where it stood at halftime. In the second half, Slippery Rock getting an opportune goal. They were able to draw out Alina Rakowitz from the net, and then a Nicole Kruger goal 30 yards out made it 2-1. Kutztown frantically and really still with focus, trying to make the comeback. Corner kick in the 80th minute. Tori D'Angelo takes the corner kick. Logan Kramer gets a shot on net. Team save by Slippery Rock. Earlier in the half, in the 66th minute, similar thing. Corner kick by Diana Malanga. Katie Miller had a shot on goal, a team save. 3 team saves for the Rock as they defeat KU 2-1, ending the 7-game losing streak for Kutztown. The team record for winning streak was 8, set in 2004 and 2008. It was only the second time Kutztown was outshot this season, but 3 team saves by Slippery Rock. That's just bad luck for KU that they couldn't get any points in the standings out of this game. But unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. The Rock outshot Kutztown 14-9. Again, it was only the second time Kutztown was outshot this season. The other time was the home loss 2-0 against Millersville. That was really the only flat performance Kutztown's had this season. They are now 8-4 on the season, 8-4 in the PSAC. But besides that Millersville loss, you had a 2-1 loss to Slippery Rock yesterday, 3 team saves, and then 1-0 tough losses at Shippensburg And at East Stroudsburg, Kutztown held Stroud without a shot for about the final 15 minutes. Kutztown had several opportunities to try and tie it. Similar type thing against Shippensburg. Unfortunately, 8-4 for the Golden Bears in an unusual year in which the PSAC so far has only 7 ties in all their games. Not sure if that's going to end up being a conference record of fewest ties per game by season's end, but it makes things very congested as we take a look. We have to look at the PSAC standings because this thing is absolute chaos, especially among the top 10. You have at tie for 9th, 5-5-1 for Millersville and Mercyhurst. Kutztown will host Mercyhurst for Senior Day at the regular season finale for the Golden Bears. But before that, they have some tough conference opponents coming up and a non-conference game against Alderson Brodus. But let's look at this PSAC standings because it is a big logjam up front. Top team right now, California, 10-1 in conference play. The Golden Bears host the Vulcans this Saturday. It's a huge game. The Vulcans ranked 9th in the nation, 10-2-1 overall, 10-1 in the PSAC. 1 p.m. Golden Bear Network. If you can't go out to Keystone Field to root on the Golden Bears, check it out. KU and Cal, 7-1 against common opponents. Both of them lost at Slippery Rock, 2-1 Cal at the beginning of the season, and Kutztown obviously yesterday. But the Cal 10-game winning streak, they've outscored their opponents 39-2, and at one point held a 726-minute scoreless streak. KU lost at Cal last year, 2-1. Slippery Rock with the victory. They're second in the conference, 8-2-1. Gannon behind that, who Kutztown will have for their penultimate game of the season. That will be at Gannon and Erie, a very tough game. They're 8-3-1. Kutztown fourth, 8-4. Westchester fifth. They're also 8-4, but Kutztown has a tiebreaker, defeating Westchester the first week of the season, 3-2. Edinboro has a chance to hop both teams. They're 7-3-1, and Kutztown hosts them this Tuesday, 1 p.m. on the Golden Bear Network. Edinboro is a 9-3-1 overall, 7-3-1 in conference play. They do have obviously one PSAC game on Saturday that will affect their record. They host Mercyhurst, who is mentioned with Millersville, 5-5-1, just standing outside the top 8 of that PSAC postseason picture. To continue along, 7-8, Shippensburg is 7-4. They defeated KU, equal in the loss column, so they can hop Kutztown. East Stroudsburg, 6-4-2. They defeated KU, so KU has to try to avoid these losses here, try to get outcomes, as they will have Cal and Edinboro this upcoming week. Again, both of them on the Golden Bear Network at 1 p.m. Saturday and Tuesday, respectively. But also non-conference game against Alderson Brodus at Gannon, and then home against Mercyhurst up left. There's a lot left in this season, and this a team that had a 7-game winning streak, and I would say they've been outplayed in only one game this season. I think in 3 of their 4 losses, they've played as good as the other team, if not better. Couldn't get the outcome, couldn't get the fortunate breaks their way. Sometimes in those close games, even if you barely outplay a team, sometimes you can lose. It happens that way. Really, the only flat game they had was against Millersville, but 8-4, and again in a conference that strangely only has 7 ties altogether this season. You have, at this point of the season, 6 teams without a tie in conference play. I think last year there might have been only 2, and there were 2 teams alone that had 4 ties. So at the least, there were 7 ties in terms of games just between those 2 teams last year. It's unbelievable to see where the conference is at this year. Moving forward, now we take a look at what's going on in KU field hockey, as the Golden Bears had a big game this past Tuesday against Shippensburg and last Saturday against Bloomsburg as well. They entered the week 5-4 overall, 2-1 in the PSAC. Unfortunately, though, a pair of losses. Saturday against Bloomsburg, it was scoreless at the half. Bloom ranked 7th in the nation, and they showed it in the second half. 2 quick goals, 42 seconds in the 43rd and 44th minute. Added in the 3rd goal in the 53rd minute, and they defeated KU 3-0. But talking to head coach Marcy Schuing before Tuesday's Shippensburg game, She had nothing but great things to say about the defense in the first half, was really lauding their performance against a great Bloomsburg offense that has done a good job this season. Bloom 8-4 overall, 4-1 in the PSAC. That's third in the conference. Tuesday's game against Shippensburg, the Golden Bears, well, they showed some good fight, especially late in the first half. Some sparring back and forth with the top-ranked team in the nation. Unfortunately, Shippensburg penalty stroke goal in the 11th minute, added in the second one in the 17th minute. It was 2-0. Kutztown then put the pressure on Shippensburg, was actually the better half for about an 8 to 10 minute span. Jess Strohecker got a goal, made it 2-1 in the 28th minute, but Shippensburg, like a championship quality team that they are, responded within a minute. 29th minute, they made it 3-1. A scoreless second half, so that's the final score, 3-1 for the Red Raiders. Let's look at some of the athletes of the week between these two programs. For women's soccer, Megan Frailer had a goal against Slippery Rock, the freshman forward, one of our athletes of the week, and then the defender Katie Miller had a goal against Mansfield and a shot on goal stopped by a team save against Slippery Rock. For field hockey, Erin Danner, she keyed to some strong defensive performances, both against Bloomsburg and Shippensburg, had a defensive save against Shippensburg, and did a great job cutting off the Red Raiders from opening up lanes and expanding that lead. Kept it a competitive game against the Shippensburg team that few teams have made it competitive against this season. Also, Jess Strohecker, the freshman defender, with not only strong defensive performances, but the goal against Shippensburg. Coming up next for Kutztown, 5-6 overall, 2-3 in the PSAC, still fighting for either spots 4 through 6 in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Top 6 spots make it into the postseason in field hockey. KU will travel at Mansfield Saturday at noon. Mansfield 3-9 overall, 0-6 in the PSAC. Kutztown 2-5, Mansfield 1-7 against common opponents. Wednesday, Kutztown will be at number 4 Westchester, a team that is 8-4 overall, 3-2 in the PSAC with one conference matchup. Before that, KU 2-3, Westchester 4-2 against common opponents this season. On to KU volleyball. The Golden Bears last week defeated Millersville in 3 sets. Audrey Stringer, 12 kills, only 3 errors in 19 attempts. Nicole Brumley, 9 kills, only 2 errors in 16 attempts. Both had hit percentages better than 40. KU won the first set 25-20. Second set, one of their best sets of the season, 25-12. Won the third 30-28. The following day against Shippensburg, the PSAC East Division preseason favorites, the Golden Bears in a back-and-forth game. Unfortunately, they lost in 5 sets. KU took the first set 25-21, the fourth 25-19, but Shippensburg taking sets 2 and 3, 25-21 and 25-15 respectively, before taking the fifth and final set 15-10. Your athletes of the week, Anna Conti, the freshman setter, was fantastic against Shippensburg. 4 service errors, 34 assists, 14 digs. That was second on the team. And then how about the freshman defensive specialist, Morgan McKenzie? Shout out to her. Career high, 5 service aces against the Red Raiders. Coming up next for the Golden Bears this weekend, the PSAC crossover weekend number 2. KU will host these. Tomorrow's games will be on the Golden Bear Network, 11:30 a.m. against Cal, who's 16-4 overall, 9-0 in the PSAC, 15-1 in their last 16 games, with the only loss to 24th-ranked Willing Jesuit. 7:30, you'll have KU hosting Seton Hill. Again on the Golden Bear Network, KU 4-6, Seton Hill 8-1 against common opponents. Saturday's matches will be against Clarion at 10 a.m. at Keystone Arena. Clarion's only loss this season to Cal in 5 sets, 19-1 overall, 8-1 in the PSAC, and then the weekend closes at 6 p.m. against IUP, the only PSAC victory this season for IUP against Lock Haven. Closing things out for cross country at the DeSales Invitational, Kutztown, the top of 22 teams. Congratulations to them. They win the meet. A team 50, Corinne Manella finished 5th, Frances McNally 6th, and also had Jess Huber 10th, Molly McDonald 12th, and Megan Riley 17th. The men finished 4th of 20 teams. It was dominated by the top 4 teams in the meet. Zach Fleming, congratulations to him individually, won the meet. Jake Austin, Joe Dias also in the top 20. Cross country continues their season at the Lafayette Leopard Invitational Saturday in Easton, PA at 10 a.m. and they will have their PSAC championships next weekend at Kutztown. We will indeed be previewing that on next week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. To wrap things up, Kutztown last weekend against Seton Hill in the Seton Hill Invitational. They finished first of 4 teams. They have the PSAC Championships coming up this week. And, well, obviously wanted to get some of the thoughts from the Golden Bears. Well, we heard from 3 of the players for the Golden Bears. First things first, we'll talk about Jackie Clifton and her individual keys for this upcoming PSAC Championships in Hershey, PA.
No, I've been practicing, like I said, mainly all year on my short game, and that's really coming together. And if I just bring my mental game into the picture and have everything work together as one, and I don't think anything can really stop me.
As for Devin Everett, both her and Clifton finished tied for third in the win at Seton Hill. She talked about her individual keys.
If I get this putting down, I think my putting is going to be really what helps me, pushes me through here. You know, I had a lot of putts in this last tournament and shooting an 82, and that just, it really makes me cringe on how many putts 3 putts I could have cleaned up. So I know tee to green I'll be fine. I'm feeling pretty strongly with my iron game, and I know that if I get this putting down, I'll be great.
As for Madison Housel, she finished tops 2 weeks ago at the KU Invitational. She talked about the expectations for the team and the strengths.
I feel like we're in a really good position. We have a really good shot at doing well. If everybody plays the game I know they can play. I think mentally I'm more strong this year, not putting as much pressure on myself when I mess up a shot. Just trying to stay calm. Seems to work out a lot better that way.
And then finally we hear from the head coach, and Rob Fisher. He talked about the individual expectations, saying that the team should be balanced. They all should be in the competition. Doesn't really see a hierarchy of who has the best chance, expects that team balance throughout. But he talked about overall the team expectations.
California University is usually the favorite, and they are again. And then it'll be, ourselves, Gannon University, and Seton Hill for the top 4. So we play well, we can win it. We play poorly, we can come in 4th or 5th. So I'm hoping that we're in the top 2 or 3.
Well, it should be interesting to see. Last year, KU men's tennis won the team championships. The women won the East Division. Men and women actually finished up their fall seasons this past weekend against LaSalle. The women's match got postponed due to rain. The men lost 5-4 against LaSalle Division I program. But we'll see here as we kind of look at the parallels of those sports. Can KU golf get their PSAC championship? It should be interesting to see. That does it for this edition of the Golden Bear Beat. This is Adam Dobrovolsky signing out. Again, next week we will have the PSAC Championships preview for cross country, as that will be here on the KU campus. Until then, as we say every week, go Bears go.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Make sure to stay updated on everything involving Kutztown University athletics at KUBears.com and tune in for weekly broadcasts every Thursday at noon on KUR.